This is the MLW Radio Network.
Welcome, everybody, to the Mind of the Meanie, your weekly peek into the world according to former WWE superstar and ECW original, the Blue Meanie. We'll cover wrestling, music, movies, sports, and lots of useless knowledge, all contained in the Mind of the Meanie. I am your tour guide, Josh Shernoff, and he is the Blue Meanie. Meanie, what's on your mind?
Oh, man. This time of year can just suck a dick. Oh, my God. I am tired of the snow. I am tired of the cold.
Dude, it is colder than an Eskimo's anus. It is, it is.
Give me sunlight until 8 and let me air my tits out. You know, let me throw on my shorts. Let me open up some windows. Let the fucking stink out, man. I hate this time of year, man.
The tough thing that everybody needs to be able to appreciate with you is, you know, the Blue Meanie's not a gimmick. You only wear Daisy Dukes and cut off shirts. So the winter is particularly tough on you. And so we're just waiting for and then sometimes you'll put on like a winter coat, but your winter coat is cut off as well. Yeah. So
how's that work? I don't know.
Oh.
They're just pre-made that way.
Yeah.
All my gear. You know?
So you do it. You go to the
gear fairy comes along and waves her wand and goes ding, and then like half shirt Daisy Dukes. Yep.
There it is. The gear fairy.
Yeah, this is the high quality entertainment you get here at Mind of the Meanie.
So it's episode 48, and I can't believe we've done 48 of these. It's awesome.
Same.
But it feels like this has really like flown by.
I think I said that episode 24.
Yeah.
I can't believe we've done 24 of these, and here we are, number 48.
2 weeks away from our premiere on Fight, which is going to be awesome, the video version of this. But remember, if you want the full video version, and I'm talking full video version because we've been on a call for almost 10 minutes with our Patreon members, and you get a little bit early. You get some other stuff like us talking about plowing and things like that. Snow it is. But you're going to get all of that stuff, and you get it live and immediate. So you would get it on a Saturday for Patreon, and then Fight, you guys will get it Monday night at 6 p.m. Eastern time. So that'll be exciting. Definitely a little bit more work to edit this stuff up, but
you bring it on yourself, buddy.
I bring it on myself. And I was like, oh man, you know, that's just a little bit more work. What should I do to kind of balance that? I know we'll add another show onto our YouTube channel, which we just did. And I hope that people have enjoyed it. It's called Talking with Friends. It's a new show that Meanie has been kind enough to allow me to really just get together with my friends and talk about. The first episode is a little different than I think what the other ones will end up being. The other ones will probably be us just kind of shooting the shit. But the first episode, we wanted to give you a backstory about how wrestling really brought us all together. That's where our friendship started, over 20 years ago. So we gave you a little bit of a backstory. So hopefully if you watched it, you weren't too bored. But you get a little bit of a backstory on me and my brother Fred and Calvin Tan and and Matt Mangle, who is a character as well. So here's some fun stories about assaults happening in the cafeteria back in middle school. Just fun, some fun stuff. So I hope you all go check that out at youtube.com/Mind of the Meanie. We're trying to just bring you more content there. And of course, Patreon members got it a couple days early. They got about 48 hours early. And that's one of the great things you get on Patreon. So if you're somebody who can't wait, join Patreon. If you're someone who can wait, please teach me how you're able to do that, because I'm someone who can't wait.
Hey, I'm quite envious that all this years later, and you still have your wrestling buddies to talk to. I mean,
I do. I have a Hulk Hogan one, and I have an Ultimate Warrior one. And I tell they're not much for conversation, but I'll talk to them.
But yeah, man. I was on like a 3-second delay with that joke.
That's fine.
Yeah, like growing up, like I watched wrestling basically by myself, really. Growing up, my family really wasn't into it. I mean, my grandparents were into it because they watched it back in the day.
Right.
But like I had like maybe a friend or two in like grade school I watched with and talked to about. I don't even know where those people are anymore.
So that's kind of the thing though. Like I've been very lucky to still have a lot of the same friends I had back in high school. And things are different. These guys were always, I met them in high school. My brother knew them from middle school, like Matt and Calvin specifically. But I met them while I was in high school when we started doing the TWF, the Teenage Wrestling Foundation, which we talk about on the show, when we were doing all that stuff. But I had my other high school friends. So these guys were more like when we really became friends was college. We all lived at home and commuted to school. So we all basically hung out in my basement, and they were like my college friends. And, we just managed to maintain that friendship. My high school friends, I'm still friends with, but we don't all live around each other anymore. We'll talk the thing is when you have a bond with somebody, like I've got a buddy in from high school that I'll talk to maybe every like 5-6 months. And when we talk, it's like no time has passed, and
yeah,
it's, and then you have the one that you shoot a text to maybe a couple times a month, but this group specifically, I think because wrestling was our connection, and I'm sure people listening to this can relate to that, having the friends that, wrestling's their connection. It was something that no matter where our lives took us, we always had wrestling. We always had that to when you get together, if you have the friend from high school where the only thing you really have in common is you're in the same social group in high school. Well, fast forward 10 years, and it's kind of tricky to still have much of a friendship because what are you going to do? Talk about, I wonder what that girl's up to that we used to pine after in high school, So, but with wrestling, we've always had it. And then on top of that, the fact that we all got involved in wrestling and then kind of fell out of being involved in wrestling. And then as we talk about on Talking with Friends, really it was Conrad Thompson and Something to Wrestle that brought us back to being interested in wrestling. And then fast forward, I'm back in the business. Fred is doing cartoons. Calvin is doing all the stuff with me with Fight and StarCast. And Matt has even been out in StarCast. And Matt was doing commentary with me at indie shows. So like we all kind of found our way back into it and now talk even more frequently than we did for a little bit, again, because of wrestling. So, it's I'm very lucky to still have those friends, but it's kind of what led me to talk to you about, being able to do this on the Mind of the Meanie page was A, it's people we talk about on the show, but B, our entire friendships really, were based in our love of wrestling.
Yeah, man. And that's so cool. And you approached me about it, and then I was like, dude, it's a no-brainer. Because I always say, Mind of the Meanie is our planet. Mm-hmm. And then we have a bunch of these little satellites that float around it. Mrs. Meanie Running, Meanie Toons. Mm-hmm. Now with the latest project.
Yeah.
Like you said, you're talking with all the people you talk about on here anyway.
Right. The next one will be Donnie and Bev.
Yeah. Yeah.
But no, and it's also something, we're not trying to take over the world with, our giant podcast network or anything, but it is fun to kind of see what can, they're like television, like has spinoffs, that's pretty much what it is. They're little like spinoffs of Mind of the Meanie, or the way that you described it with the planet and, is perfect. And that's what we're trying to continue to do, to just bring you more entertainment. And And, you got Mind of the Meanie once a week, but we're able to just be like, hey, on the big pay-per-views, you can go over to Fight, check out alternative commentary with me and Meanie. Like, there's other stuff that we're doing. And content is king, as they say. And we're just trying to create as much as we can. And I've got some fun ideas that Meanie and I have talked about a little bit off air, but fun ideas of other, not so much recurring shows, but maybe like specials that we can put together under the Mind of the Meanie banner, the old MOTM network, which is not a thing, but I just created it. But no, like little like specials that we can put together. One of the things that we are going to be doing soon, hopefully, is with the owner of Wildcat Belts. Hopefully we'll be able to just get our schedules together for that and do a nice video for our YouTube. So fun things like that. But yeah. Yeah,
that's the one thing with that. I've been working on the thing for Wildcat. It's just schedules are so goofy right now.
Yeah.
It's not like he's got anything to do besides like make belts for everybody. For
WWE and forever. Yeah.
He's in his labertory.
Just tell him, just be like, hey, why don't you just throw in a webcam and just chat with us while you're, etching leather or whatever whatever it is.
It'll be like when Undertaker was making Kamala's casket.
He'll just be shaving away. Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, man.
But
yeah, it's so cool. We got these shows and this thing. There was a germ of an idea, just like Car Ride Home. Hey, let me do a podcast. The thing people have been asking me to do anyway. And I found you, and then we evolved and going on episode 50, which is insane.
Yeah. It really is, and it's exciting. It's exciting because there's something about hitting these milestones that I feel like every time we hit these milestones, we're like reinvigorated. We're just like, oh man, episode 50. Then it's going to be 1 year anniversary shortly after that, and then we just get moving. And today, Cella Toys just released on social media the card backing for our action
that looks
figures.
So good.
And and then they're like something like really soon they'll be in hand, and I'm like, good. This is great information to have. So yeah, I'm psyched for that. So all these things, man. Like we're a couple days away. As this podcast is being recorded, we're something like 6 days away from Retromania coming out.
That snuck up on us. Seriously,
I'm so. I've got ties that you can kind of see behind me on the one side here. If you're watching this on our Patreon, you can see I've got me as an action figure on one tie, and then I don't know if you can see it on the other one. No, it's out of frame, but I've got me on the video game. It's the other one, and then I've got the Meanie Toons tie here too. So if nothing else, I've got a bunch of ties now. But no, it's so cool. And look, eventually someone would have contacted you. Cello would have contacted you. Zombie Sailor Toys or something who's doing other retro style would have contacted you. It would have happened one way or the other. You would have gotten a figure. You were already in Retromania. But for me, you take Mind of the Meanie out of the equation, and I can't imagine that I've got an action figure coming out and that I'm going to be involved in the video game. I think, be it just being a part of this show, or also, when people don't know someone, they're nervous about working with them, Yeah. But working with you and your reputation kind of gave me that seal of approval.
Reputation.
Well, yeah, but your reputation. People are like, well, if he can put up with Meanie, no, but no. So it's really cool. It's not lost on either of us how awesome the last 48 weeks have been. How they've just kept growing. While outside of the podcast, outside of the Mind of the Meanie universe. Maybe the last 48 weeks have kind of been the drizzling shits. But that's something too that I think is really cool, that we've been able to create our own little world and our own little community with the Pod Squad where every week you can just come in and just enjoy yourself and listen to us ramble on and fart. You know?
Yeah, and that's probably a reason why you're glad we didn't go to Monaco to do this show, because
well, Monaco's they probably would have kicked us out at that point. It
would have been worse than closing up for COVID.
The janitor would have just come in and been like, I quit. I can't do this anymore. I don't.
But like the movie E.T. where they put the bubble over the building and people come in with this astronaut suits and leave. P.U.
Oh man.
Fuck off. But yeah, I mean, I'm just happy. Just besides this weather, but yeah. Outside the show's been the drizzling shits. I still see people not giving a fuck about a lot, and that's disheartening. And it's just like, it's hard to if I thank God I'm not really into biting my tongue, or I'd have no tongue left. Just. Or whatever that saying is.
Oh, no, I'd never heard that before, so that's good.
Yeah, if it came to bite my tongue, I'd have no tongue left. But, it's just so crazy.
Yeah.
But, whatchamacallit? Things are exciting, man. I'm very excited. I know it doesn't look, can't tell by the expression on my face because, normally my resting face.
I'm very excited. I can't wait.
People always think I'm like, people who don't know me think I'm like angry because like
really?
my resting face. Yeah. Like look at my resting face.
Oh yeah. That's frightening.
Yeah. There's something about my eyebrows. People just think I'm
plotting world domination. I don't know.
Yeah. My resting.
There's something about my eyebrows too. They take up 3/4 of my face. I don't even have a beard. Patches. It's just eyebrows. But no, I told you, I've said this once before. My first date with my wife, we were just kind of talking, we were getting to know each other, and I said to her, I said, I've been told that I have a very condescending tone to my voice.
Yeah.
Like no matter if I'm being serious, if I'm being sarcastic, and sarcasm is my superpower.
Yes.
But
great shirt.
Yeah. Available ProWrestlingTees.com/so says Shernoff.
Yeah.
But to me, I never mean to be. I try so when I'm being sincere or when I'm being condescending, it sounds the same. And I told her that and I'll sometimes still, all these years later, remind her when she's like, well, your tone said, I'm like, I told you on our first date, I can't change it. I can't, this is just the way, my voice is. And I guess when you're sarcastic enough for a long enough period of time, I think what happened was, I lost the ability to, it's like when people move, people who have an accent move somewhere else and they lose their accent, or they gain a new accent from somewhere else. Like that's pretty much what happened, was like I just gained sarcasm as an accent even when I'm being sincere. So whatever.
Well, we have a couple of those, we've had me and Mrs. Meanie, I've had a couple moments where like I'll answer something and I guess it sounds wrong, not condescending or anything, but it sounds like I'm in the mood.
Yep.
And I'm not. I'm perfectly fine. Or I will have just dealt with something out in the real world, and I come home and I will just let things linger in my head, like
not just somebody else.
There's a lot of room in there. Just there's a lot of real estate in this fucking cranium. That's why my fucking hat size is on the last fucking thing where my hat's like fucking hanging on for life, Oh
man.
But I'll something will happen out in the wild where somebody will say something to me and I don't know how to take it, and like I'm constantly thinking of things I should have said. And it's just like, it's like I got, short attention span theater going on and like all this different things. And I'll come home and Tracy will be like, "How are your day?" I'm like, "Fine." Well, what are you mad at me for? Yeah, it's like, no, I'm not mad at you.
My favorite thing is like sometimes my wife will like, she'll get like hot at me for my like what she thought I meant. Like I'll say something and she'll think that my intention in saying it was to be confrontational or to be, whatever. And I explained to her, I'm like, that's not at all what I meant. I'm sorry you took it that way. That's not at all what I meant. And she's like still pissed. And then I'll like say to her, like, listen, with all due respect, like, I'm sorry you took it that way, but I kind of don't feel like I need to apologize for the fact that you thought I was being insulting when I really wasn't. Like, I shouldn't have to apologize for that. Like, how is that my fault?
Yeah.
But somehow, but guess what? It is. And I have to
come to terms with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Behind every great man, there's a woman rolling her eyes.
Yes.
Nah, but I can say this with all certainty. We're both lucky fellas.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Every night, like, it's like I'm fortunate that I have somebody who puts up with me, gets what, I shouldn't have threw the alphabet in there. I'm lucky.
They put up with me. The fuck is that next letter?
What's after Z?
Oh, I see what you needed. You needed something more of an infinite.
Yeah. What the fuck's after Z? I don't know. But no, somebody who gets me, somebody who understands what I do, and someone who's accepted by, all my friends in the wrestling business. They'll ask about her before they ask about me. Sandman will shoot me a random text. "Hey, how's Blue Girl doing?" I'm like, I'm good. I'm doing good, Hack. Thank you. And we dude, our like, we don't have this like. We're not hung up on like, oh, we have to go out. We have to do this. We're just fucking happy being home.
That is the best. That is the best feeling to find. So that's how I've always been. And if you can find someone who is like that, and I kind of had to train my wife to, like, I had to start this whole global pandemic just to make her stop, stop going out. No, it's nice that like she's somebody that we can just. Much like you and Mrs. Meanie, we can just hang out and just enjoy each other's company, enjoy just staying in. I'm sure if you asked her, she'd be like, man, if he wanted to like go out and dance or something. And it's like, who you married. Like, that's not happening. But every once in a while, a friend will get married and we'll go out to,
and boogie.
Yeah, we boogie, that's for sure. And then I pop couple pills and afterwards go to the hospital. What happened? I tried to floss or whatever I don't know. How'd you separate your shoulder? The sprinkler. I don't know. My big move is the shopping cart. It's always been my move. My move. Just kind of do it and then just grab something. Your move? Yeah, the meanie dance.
Yeah, that's about it.
Yeah.
If I try anything else, people try to hold down my tongue thinking I'm having a seizure or something. But,
Yeah, but at least
chair dancer.
You have your dance. You're a good chair dancer, do you say?
Yeah, you just sit in a chair and,
Yeah.
I could do that. But once my feet start doing things.
Yeah. I'm a good pole dancer. I lean up against a pole, just kind of tap my foot.
I dance like a cow wearing fucking roller skates. Just
oh, man.
No, but like I like a night for us, like last night, I came in, I come home, I go take a shower, and we lounge around in this room, and then we have all our entertainment. We got all the streaming channels, and she turned us on to this new show called she found it and turned me on to it, called Making It, with Amy Poehler and Ron Swanson.
Oh,
Nick Offerman.
Yeah, he was Ron Swanson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And which throws me off, he doesn't have the mustache. He's got a full beard now.
Yeah.
But so it's like a creative competition.
Is it
Oh,
good?
I have to say this. I have to say this. He's from Parks and Rec, right?
Yep.
I was like, he's from The Office, right? And Tracy goes, no, he's from Parks and Rec. So there's a episode where all the contestants have to design a cubicle in an office. So him and Amy Poehler set up a scene like they're in the show The Office.
Really?
And she goes, were you in the show The Office? He's like, no. She goes, neither was I. Because I guess everybody assumes they were in the show The Office.
Yeah, well, because they were like
and Tracy,
kind of like an unofficial spinoff. Like they were originally supposed to be a spinoff
right.
with, what's her name, Rashida Jones.
Okay.
I think it was supposed to be a spinoff, and then they were just like, you know what, we're not going to make it a spinoff. We'll just make it its own thing following the same style. But yeah.
Yeah, but the best thing is they did that skit, and Tracy looks at me and goes, you just asked if he was in the office. And they're like sitting in an office, and there's like a thing of shades behind them, kind of like in the office.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Like all their little talking head moments.
Yeah. It was just like awesome. That. The rest of the show was like that. So I was just like, oh, man, I'm glad I wasn't the only one who thought they were in the office instead of Parks and Rec, which are two shows I need to watch. But,
oh, my God. Seriously. Two of the best shows on television. Have you seen Mr. Mayor? That's a new one.
Everybody's talking about it. I haven't seen it yet.
It's so freaking funny. Bobby
RJ City. RJ City keeps tweeting about it.
Oh, is he? Yeah. Oh, is it Bobby Monahan? Is that his name?
Moynihan.
Yeah, well, either way.
I'm Carol. That's his favorite, my favorite character from Saturday Night Live he did. I'm Carol.
Well, he is freaking hysterical in this, in Mr. Mayor.
That's awesome.
Ted Danson is amazing, too. Like, it's just really, it's really good. And what's her name? Who's, like, the other lead, is unrecognizable.
She's from Raising Arizona.
Yeah, what the hell is her name? She's unrecognizable in this show.
Oh, my God. Let me go to the Google machine.
Yeah, you got to find out.
Because
meanwhile,
shout out. A ton of great movies.
I want to do a shout out to James Sorensen, our Patreon member, our Blue member. Just posted on social media his brand new That Was Extreme hoodie.
Awesome.
with the logo. That fun fact for anybody who doesn't know, that Was Extreme logo. This one was made to look like the old Teenage Wrestling Foundation TWF logo that is on my belt that is behind me all the time.
That's awesome.
But yeah, so it's pretty cool. Probably wouldn't have used that for That Was Extreme had I known like a minute later I'd be doing Talking with Friends that is also TWF, but that's using the actual TWF. Holly Hunter, yes. Vanessa Bello coming through.
Thank you. Vanessa Bello always coming through for the show.
Yeah, Holly Hunter, unrecognizable.
Yeah.
Like I will spend half the episode just like staring at her going like, that can't really be you. But yeah, it's just really, really fun show.
Yeah, I need to check that out. Just, dude, between like trying to think of ideas for the show and then like I try to keep up on the current product.
Mm-hmm. It's
and
tough.
Then trying to throw in some regular shows on top of that. It's just like,
so that's
like worse. I don't have the time.
That's kind of the tricky thing as far as the current product is like the only time I really watch that is either when I'm like working out, which has not happened as much as it needs to, or
same
when I'm lying in bed and I'll put it on TV when my wife goes to sleep because like nothing in the current product of wrestling is so must see that I'm going to tell my wife either A, we got to turn this on instead of watching one of our other shows, or B, you watch one of your shows. I'm going to go watch this because I need to watch it live. It's just not. So I catch it when I catch it. And even then I sometimes will just be like watching and I'll just be like, I can't, there's so much stuff I'd rather watch. I'd rather just go on the network and watch something older, or a documentary on something as opposed to watching because it's just not that. Yeah, I have to watch because I need to be up on the news for So Shernoff and, but honestly, the busier, like you said, the busier we've gotten with this podcast and all the things going along with it, like we don't have the time to, know what's going on in every aspect of wrestling because we watched hours and hours. Like, think about it. Yeah. Raw, SmackDown, and NXT. What are we coming to there? 7 hours of TV plus two for Dynamite. That's 9 hours of TV a week. Plus, if you're going to watch MLW, you're now at 10 hours. If you're going to watch Impact, what's Impact? Is that an hour or 2 hours?
I don't know. I don't care about that.
Yes.
I have a grudge with that company. I don't even know why.
Do you have
not with the workers?
You have a grudge with Impact?
I don't know.
So which Impact though? Because it's not even the same owners. Or when did this grudge
evolution? That whole evolution of that company just annoys me. I don't know why.
Because they took something and threw it away. They had gold in their hands and they shit on it.
Yeah.
But that was Dixie Carter.
And it has nothing to do with the talent.
Sure. But what I'm saying is that was Dixie Carter. That
look how they had gold in their hands and they shit on it. And then
it's a wise
in
man
the wake of get on it, Slichter. And listen to my rationale, and I've come to terms with this. And again, this has nothing to do with the talent or whatever. They had this really cool product that was something of its own. They had gold in their hands. They shit on it, and then they got away from that, tried to be WWE. And in the wake of that, they've constantly on this lifeline where other people are keeping them afloat somehow. Whether it's Billy Corgan making a sizable donation. Stuff, and then the company in Canada,
Anthem Sports,
buys them, and then they have to gut all their other products and fire all these people who have been working for that company forever. All these people have to lose their jobs because this company that had something special pissed it away. So now they gut Anthem, which costs a lot of people a lot of jobs. Then somehow all this other stuff happens, and now they're on Access. They buy Access,
right?
Which is actually a really good channel. With them going to Access, Access guts their whole, division. And how many people lost their jobs acquiring Impact? You know what I'm saying? Like between Anthem and Access being gutted.
So they're just kind of so basically what you're saying is wherever Impact goes,
death follows, and people just lose their job. It's just like it's been this wrecking ball that goes through companies.
And what's weird about it is it's everything that you're describing is true, but it's all thanks to different people, right? Like it's anyone from, you can go back to, the Jerry Jarrett days to Dixie Carter to, like you said, when Billy Corgan was there for, a cup of coffee or doing whatever he was doing, Eric Bischoff being there and Hulk Hogan and stuff, all these different time periods, but it was never the same people. Like it was, and now, but I will say now, it seems to be, from the people that I know, I know a lot of people that work there now. And
like I said, I have a lot of friends who work there. It's not the talent. It's just this whole thing.
But it seems it seems like, and everything's tough now. There's no audience. It's always tough to see, but it seems like it's been a pretty decent place to work, I guess. I haven't heard, I don't think I've heard any negative things for a while. And I know a lot of people, Brian Myers, Matt Cardona,
we don't hear
brothers.
You really don't hear anything. That's what the problem is. You don't hear anything.
Well, now they're doing their stuff with AEW. And unfortunately, while that's really cool in theory, it's kind of made it tough to follow AEW because I don't have the time to follow both.
And again, Impact latching onto another company,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
it's taken away from that company, which AEW had all this steam and fire,
Yeah.
and the Wednesday night tiddlywinks that they have. It's not a war because they're fighting over decimal points. So the Wednesday night thumb wrestling,
The Wednesday night
that they-
tiddlywinks. Can that be a T-shirt?
Why not?
Wednesday night tiddlywinks.
Yeah, slick there. But seriously, again, and I wasn't even thinking about it till you brought it up. They're working with AEW, which AEW doesn't need anybody.
I haven't understood why that's happening. And again, listen, it's cool. Let's play it out. Get some fun, matches. The more places there are to work, the better the business is, the better it is for the boys and the girls and
Right.
Obviously, when we say the boys, it's just ingrained in us, but we mean all the roster, and we should probably come up with a different way to say that.
It's understood.
Yeah. But the talent, and that's the thing, like when WWE bought WCW, when ECW went out of business, that was people always point to how creatively that sucked for wrestling. Wrestling just went to went in the shitter. But it sucked think of the talent that was just gone.
Yeah.
And had nowhere to go, nowhere to make a living. And we've talked about this before. I remember I was training at the Wild Samoan Training Center at that time.
Yeah.
And as a smaller guy, I was in there, small guy. I was in there with a bunch of other people that were, oh God, oh Lord. Well, join Patreon, you'll know what's happening. So, hey, were you always wearing that pearl necklace?
Yeah. Woo.
But no, so being a cruiserweight, I was kind of friends with a bunch of other people in training that were that kind of weight class, that size. And especially for like that size, because that was like WCW was like, well, you're smaller. Well, that's cool. You can go to WCW. They know what to do with you. And it was just like a funeral walking in the next day of training after WCW shut down. Was like everyone was just down, and no matter who the talent was, because you're looking at it and you're going, first of all, WCW was kind of like that you always just kind of felt like I could probably get a job at WCW and stay there for a couple of years before they even realize I work there and fire me, So like it was always kind of like that thought. And then when you're just like, oh, now it's just WWE, you're like, well, shit, and then being 5'8", you're really, especially in that time in 2001, there were no 5'8", I mean, you had like your like Malenkos and stuff, but like it wasn't commonplace. And so I'm happy with Impact. If Impact's getting the rub from AEW and that's going to make Impact bigger, and more opportunities for people to work, then I'm all for it. And I will say a couple of years ago, I went to an Impact show, and that crowd was crazy. They were it was somewhere in New York, and I just remember thinking like this crowd is really intense, and it was neat the way they had it set up in the venue there. It was like the press area was like further back. So I kind of had this like bird's eye view of the crowd and could kind of like watch around and see like they were really into it. And I couldn't believe it. I was like, I didn't know anyone watched this anymore. But they did. So I'm hoping when crowds come back that maybe this AEW stuff will kind of take it to that next level. But I don't know. But Impact, no, you're right. Impact's definitely snake bit, it feels like at times. Yet they've been around longer than anyone other than like WWE on like some form of a large scale. Like they've been around like 4 times the length of WCW?
They've been around longer than ECW.
Yeah.
And it drives me nuts. I loved all the talent there at Impact, which I still call TNA But yeah, just
Pardon me.
I'll have to
cough.
think. I see all this stuff going on. I'm like, man, imagine if ECW had that backing.
Yeah.
It'd still be around. Just they started off with an electrical company sponsoring them, which is endless funds there. So if ECW had that backing, ECW would still be around. But like I see all these companies laying in wake of taking on this company. It's just like, well, I will say this though, with them working with AEW, and now New Japan's getting into the mix.
Yeah. The forbidden door has been opened.
Yeah. And then, like if, they're kind of working with the NWA with, the NWA's women's title being there.
Yep.
If they could sort of kind of not latch on, but, bring in a Ring of Honor, and like they could truly have like a couple super cards once like crowds come back to where people go, holy shit, And
that's kind of, look, they're right off the bat, we're talking about it. And that's how that's the sign that they're doing something right.
Of course.
But I think that when the crowds come back, that's going to be the big thing, because again, look, you want a giant, you want to sell out Madison Square Garden. Look at what the, Ring of Honor connected with New Japan and sold out Madison Square Garden.
Yep.
I don't think either was going to do that individually, but it was audiences from both, and the fact that what they were doing made people so excited. Which also helped it was
WrestleMania weekend. But,
and the fact that they ran somewhere where people had come from all over the world to watch WrestleMania, and so I mean that was ingenious of them, but they managed to sell that out because I think people were just like, this is something special. And I think that when the time comes for like a big arena, you can put Impact and NWA and AEW, they'll be able to, the three companies together, that will be able to sell out a big arena.
I would bring back that old Florida Championship Wrestling show, Battle of the Belts, where they'd bring in the AWA, they'd bring in the NWA, they'd have all these different champions from different promotions on one show,
and that's,
have a true clash of champions, in a way.
I think that there's something cool about that, but then I also think that they need to, at a point, then separate.
Oh, of course.
Because otherwise you're just one giant promotion with multiple shows and it's confusing and it doesn't really work. At some point they need to separate. Also, there's like...
bring back a governing body. Well, have the NWA be a governing body that goes in between all these promotions. And then, back in the old day, back in the day. And then, like, once a year, they have the one big blow-off show where everybody gets spotlighted and, everybody prospers from it, from the exposure.
But here's my issue, though, with this. The way that they did this was, like, the closest you could have had to, like, a NWO-type invasion, like when they had, the Impact thing or whatever.
Yeah, which has never been done, by the way. Does it?
Yeah, right. Yeah. But they...
an invasion angle.
Yeah. I wish if this type of thing was happening, and I like the fact that they did it differently, that it's not so much an invasion as it is almost like you had Don Callis, like, infiltrate, Like, it's a neat take on it. I just wish it would have been with fans. And I understand that Impact has some fans and stuff, but it's not the same as if you got a shot of, like, the Good Brothers coming through the packed crowd,
They hot shot at something they probably should have sat on for a little bit,
I agree.
Especially with the vaccine coming out, and hopefully, crowds, people getting, vaccinated, less likely, less risk involved, and all that good stuff. So, and then you can have crowds.
Yeah.
They could have sat on this for a little bit,
Let's talk a little bit about the vaccine, Meanie. So I decided to try and get the vaccine. I could not. But here's Here's an interesting thing. I don't know what your take is on this, and I'm curious. I don't think we've talked about this. Give me the old chew on the pencil if you don't want to answer. But the vaccine, when you're going through, it's like 60. Got the pencil in the mouth. It's like 65 plus. Like here in Pennsylvania, I'm just talking strictly about Pennsylvania.
Yes.
There's nothing. Like, there's no vaccine to get. Like, you can't find it anywhere. But B, if you go through and fill out whether or not you're eligible, there's a list that, like, goes through of all these things from, the debilitating diseases, and then they have obesity. And
then I'm right in. I'm right.
Well, here's the thing. Obesity is based off of your BMI, which anyone who knows anything about BMI, you get a dude who's shredded with a lot of muscle mass, and they'll be considered obese by a BMI chart. But they also have smokers.
Yeah.
And I've had plenty of, I had people in my family who smoked, and I'm not a smoker. Smoking is not good. I'm not judging you if you are a smoker. I am saying you probably shouldn't for health reasons, Yeah. But it seems kind of like, I don't know, that seems like you shouldn't be able to leapfrog over other people because you're a smoker.
Right.
Like, doesn't that kind of seem like you chose to, like, even like obesity is something that's not just your choices in life. It's also your body type, There are going to be people who are going to be heavier just because that's the way they are, and they're going to have higher health risks. And that I get. But smoking is a choice. Smoking is something that you've chosen to do. And if they're saying, well, this could really negatively affect a smoker, it's kind of like, I want to be like, well, yeah, but it also can negatively affect a non-smoker. And should a smoker I'm not saying a smoker should be sent to the back of the line, but should they be getting pushed to the front of the line? Like, should smoking just be off the table of, like, that's not a criteria that we're even going to discuss of whether or not you should get, because that's what I think. I don't think smoking should be like you're penalized or you're given special treatment. I think it should have nothing to do with anything, But I think it's weird that like if I went and they said to me, like, sorry, we have to give the thing to this person because they smoke, that I'm being penalized because I chose not to smoke cigarettes.
Well, I mean, I guess it's kind of the same reason why they kept liquor stores open as essential businesses, because if certain people stopped drinking, they would die. You know what I'm saying?
I guess.
Some addiction is a disease upon itself.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, I'm not claiming that,
I know.
that smoking is not an addiction or anything.
Oh,
like,
I know.
I'm not saying, oh, you could just put that down and be done with it. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is,
right,
for the vaccine, strictly for the vaccine, I just feel like when you're like, well, here's your list. Do you have cancer? Do you smoke? And I'm like, whoa. I understand smoking is something that you get into. Maybe you got into it at a young age. Maybe you didn't know any better at the time, and it's really freaking tough to kick.
Yeah, it's something that, none of the people at the nicotine companies always try to push on people at a young age because they figure if they hook you young, then it becomes harder to quit.
And that's the thing. I'm not blaming. It's not my business of why someone started smoking. I'm not blaming them for smoking or anything like that. But what I'm saying is they had it literally had cancer and Down syndrome and smoking. And I'm like, you don't, Down syndrome wasn't a choice you made at some point in your life, and now you're addicted to it. And cancer wasn't a choice you made at some point in your life, and now you're addicted to it. So I'm kind of like, I don't know, for this vaccine that's supposed to be saving people's lives, it just seemed weird to me that was a criteria. And the weird thing about it was, if I clicked on the thing that said I was a smoker, it said on the website, you're eligible for a vaccine. If I left it blank, it said, I'm sorry, but you're not yet eligible. And that was the thing that I think kind of bothered me. Was like, you're told your whole life, don't smoke, smoking's bad, don't smoke. And now they're just kind of like, hey, this vaccine that could save your life? No, it sucks you listened to everyone and didn't smoke, because that would have been really helpful to you right now. Like that.
Right.
That's all I'm saying. It just seems weird. Like my feeling is this: like if you can get the vaccine, get it. Just go get it. Don't cut around people who need it more than you. But
just tell them you're a smoker. Fuck it. Show up with some cigarettes.
Yeah, I mean, like I can, but it just seems kind of like it just seems weird.
It's not like a tree where you cut it in half and then count the rings to see how old it is. There's no proof that you're a non-smoker.
I get that. And
just put some yellow in your teeth, make your fingertips brown, show up with a pack of Marlboros, and get your fucking shot.
There you go. I don't know.
Work the gimmick, fucking Shernoff.
Yeah, you got to work the gimmick. All right, that's what I'll do. Then.
Well, look, if that's the one thing, that's kind of goofy about this whole vaccine, we're lucky. I mean, the whole thing's been botched.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And I don't want to get into politics. But, just the distribution.
Yeah, no matter who you think is responsible,
you're right.
No matter, you can't deny the fact that it's just not working. The distribution is not working.
The distribution, but the vaccine
is very much working.
I've had friends who I have a lot of friends who are healthcare workers who got their front line, so they got it, and they give me the play-by-play of everything they went through, and even when you get it, you still kind of have to go on about life, like you pretend you didn't get the shot, just still wear the mask, still wash your hands, still do all that good stuff. But, the first shot, you feel fine. And the second shot, you kind of get achy, kind of like, like you had, the disease. Yeah. And then within a couple of days, you're fine. But
my mom got vaccinated. She's down in Florida. She's over 65.
Oh, okay.
She got vaccinated. She had the, I want to say maybe it was the second, or maybe it was the first shot. Got like a little bit, like for the next couple of days, didn't feel great. My almost 94-year-old grandfather got vaccinated, did not have an issue. His arm wasn't even sore. He got like no issue with it.
He just started flexing. Yeah, you pussies.
Yeah. But
put that in your ledger.
Yeah, when you're 94 years old, he doesn't have time to get a sore arm. He's just like, I'm not putting up with it. Like I think it's like his entire life, I think, is mind over matter. Like he's just like, I'm not gonna deal with this. I'm old, whatever. I don't have time to be old.
I ain't got time to be sore Matlocks on, motherfucker.
Yep. But no, I don't, and that's my thing. And I hope that people who are listening to this, if you're a smoker, I'm not saying you deserve it less. I'm not saying and I want to be clear with that. Cause like, if you smoke, I am not saying that you deserve the vaccine less than someone who doesn't smoke. That is not what I'm saying. I'm saying that it seems like a thing that is objectively not good for you and you are constantly told your entire life is something you should not do, should not be the reason you get it above other people. That's what I'm saying. Now, if you have, breathing issues, that's a different story. And if your breathing issues came on because you're a smoker, then yeah, I guess that's kind of a workaround. But if you have breathing issues, I don't care how you got them, then yeah, I think you should be bumped to the front of the line. So I guess maybe they're just not playing politics with it, and they're just saying if you smoke, because we know your lungs are not going to be in as good shape, so they're not like dressing it up nicely. So maybe that's it,
Well, the government makes a good money off those tobacco taxes, so
yeah, we can't. Yeah, we got to keep you alive. Got to keep the smokers alive.
Got to keep my lights on.
Yep.
There's a lot of what are they called, lobbyists who make a lot of money off that tobacco. So, and that's as political as I'll get.
Yeah.
But, yeah. So, but hopefully we get it soon. I just got an email saying that I can, there's a free testing center near me. I don't even know if I.
So you absolutely should be able to get it.
I would hope.
And not because you're over 65, but because I'm saying you're not. You've got, 6 years left until then? Because of the fact that you had part of your lung removed?
Oh yeah.
Like, I'm pretty sure, like, I know for a fact people who have had like other medical issues or whatever, and they've gotten basically a doctor's note, and they bring that with them. They make their appointment, they bring it with them. It's like a pre-existing medical condition. And like, if you have a doctor writes the note, like, you know, that's legit, man. Like, if we're having a conversation about people who smoked and had bad, you know, lungs, you're talking about somebody who you grew up severe asthmatic and then ended up having a piece of your lung removed. Like, I feel like that's gotta be enough to get you in the door.
Yeah. I would hope.
So do it.
Yeah.
We need that meanie. What is the mind of the meanie without the meanie, you know?
Yeah. The lung of the meanie.
Yeah. What's the mind of the meanie without the meanie? It's called Talking with Friends. Available. How many people are just gonna be like, "Oh, dude, okay, they're doing another show," and then they're gonna be like, "Where's Meanie? I don't understand. Where's Meanie?" Well, Meanie will have to do a guest spot at some point.
Yeah, I'll be in my iron
to bump our rate in your.
Yeah. Hey, quick shout out, man, to artist Bill Wood. Because I'm looking at myself on camera, and the photo that's right here.
Yeah.
He sent me this poster. It's a mock ECW poster, and he put me on
cool.
one of the posters. Go to Hi, I'm Bill on social media. Check out his posters, all that good stuff. He just sent me one that I can frame and give to McCuskers. So
awesome.
hopefully, yeah, and let me double check that social media.
No, but it's a really cool, really, really cool drawing.
Dude, he does amazing work. And he does like tour posters too. You know, he does like a whole bunch of stuff. He's a big wrestling fan, big music fan.
Big fan.
And big fan. But yeah, good dude, man. He sent me one, okay, it's at Hey, I'm Bill Wood on all social media, on Twitter, Instagram, all that good stuff. And then you can go to his website and check out his posters. But yeah, man, awesome stuff. He sent me one. I sent one back signed, and then he sent me another one so I can frame it and give it to McCuskers for their wall and stuff like that.
That's awesome.
His artwork's like right in their aesthetic, if I could say that, because I got no lips. But yeah, I'll frame that and give that to them, and yeah, it'll be really cool. You know, the walls of Train Meanie Studios are coming along. I framed
Looks
the
great.
Andre the Giant poster that Slichter gave me, and then Bill Wood gave me another poster for ECW House Party, the Stairway to Hell match between Sabu and Sandman, which looks amazing. We put that on the other wall.
Very cool.
This is basically the Meanie wall. And then we got our other posters. We got the poster from the last concert at the Spectrum. Something from we got a signed poster from the creators of Killer Clowns from Outer Space. We got a couple Philly tarot cards. You know, when people do readings and stuff like that. Somebody did a deck based on Philadelphia, and there's one card for the Fanatic, one card for Gritty. The Fanatic is the Fool card, and Gritty's the Devil card.
That's awesome.
Which is pretty cool. Yeah, so it's shaping up in here. We got one painting our friend Angus Oblong gave us of the infamous when Britney Spears got out of the car with no underwear on, or she was riding with, and her gimmick was showing. And he's got a really cool style of art. He had a cartoon on Cartoon Network back in the day, the Oblongs, which Will Ferrell was one of the voices, which was really cool.
That's cool.
So yeah, we're trying to support. Make the room look a little artsy fartsy and really cool.
You definitely covered the fartsy part. Now you're taking care of the artsy. So this is
yeah.
No, it is really, you got a great setup there. Your setup is what kind of made me go, hey, I gotta step it up here, step up my game. when you're on here, you can only kind of see the ties, and a little bit over my head, we've got the Mind of the Meanie pins, which, hey, by the way, there's still some Mind of the Meanie pins available at ProWrestlingTees.com/Mind of the Meanie. Get the Mind of the Meanie Hal Haney logo pin, and then also get the Meanie Toons pin. If you listen to this show and you haven't gotten that, why? So you can kind of see that stuff a little bit. My Shernoff award, and then my belt. But if you were to pan out here, which we can't do now, but if you were to, you would see my Hasbro wrestling figures display, and you would see my whole display of all the people that I've worked with, which I've now been, thanks to Ringside Collectibles, I've got a bunch of the AEW figures now that I've been, it's like killing me to take them out of their package to display them.
Yeah.
But I am, but it's also kind of cool. So I've got like, so I've got the little bit of the bubbly display, and it's cool.
That's so cool.
So I've got Jericho holding the bubbly, and it's got the table and all the little like accessories. And then I put next to it, the cork from the actual cork from the bubbly, which was not from that night. That was from the first Dynamite when he popped the cork.
Yeah.
And so I have that. And then I have my All Access Pass sitting next to it from the night that the little bit of the bubbly thing happened.
That's so cool.
Yeah, because I was lucky enough to be backstage when they were filming that. So that's kind of like, it's been fun to kind of, have my passes up against some of the figures that were made from these specific times. So, especially because who knows if I'll ever go back there again. Even when the world gets back to normal, like, I don't know when these companies are going to be like, hey, like, you know what we need? We need a guy walking around the crowd and then coming into the locker room. And then I would be like patient zero, like just going around interviewing people, getting a disease, bringing it backstage, interviewing someone, giving them the disease. Like, it's not a good, not something that's going to happen anytime soon.
Exhibit A, Exhibit B.
Yes.
The hot potato.
Hey, you want to open up some?
Oh my God! I thought you never had asked.
I've been waiting. What do you have?
I've been waiting.
I've got lemon lime.
I got. Fuck. It's so dark in here. Oh, pineapple buble.
Ooh.
A little bit of.
Ooh.
Yeah, man.
All right, here we go. 3.
This is actually a winner.
All right. 3, 2, 1. Oh, that sounded nice.
Go Birds.
By Wentz. He went back from whence he came.
I'm so fucking annoyed with that.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yep.
I had a couple lively discussions about it on social media, and I'm so fucking annoyed.
Yeah. Somehow I feel like it's going to come up and ask Meanie.
Oh, really?
Well, it doesn't have to if you talk about it now.
Dude, it just, yeah, I'm just fucking annoyed.
He's been unfairly, he's been mistreated, in my opinion.
Dude, I've never seen, and I've been a Philly sports fan my whole life.
Yeah.
I'm 82 years old, and I can tell you, my 82 years, I've never seen the venom and vitriol that has been thrown this guy's fucking way.
I don't get it.
So, look, I get it. He had a bad year, right? But the organization fucking failed him, right? There's talent there, and there's talent to be, directed, I just don't get it. I'm just so fucking annoyed with it. Of course we're talking about Carson Wentz for those not listening.
Yes.
For not knowing who we're talking about. If you're, I know we have plenty of listeners in Nicaragua who might not know who we're talking about. But the person who was supposed to be our franchise quarterback, Carson Wentz, was traded to the Indianapolis Colts, which It's oh my God, look at that freeze frame there. I froze in a blink, which is great for an audio medium for me to be talking about.
Yeah. Hey, get ready. 2 more episodes, and this thing is not just Patreon.
Yeah, man.
There are a lot of things I can clean up in post, but I can't clean up a frozen. That's not true. I could skip it, but I'm not going to.
Jerk. But yeah, dude. He was drafted here in 2016. They went through hoops to draft him, right? And then his first year he was just going to be a redshirt third string quarterback behind Sam Bradford. And then the Vikings had like this horrific injury with Teddy Bridgewater, which the Eagles wound up training Sam Bradford to the Vikings, which pushed him, to the front of the line. And Carson Wentz's first year looked really good, First year, starting quarterback with a new coach. It was what it was. I always say, when you hire a new coach, you have like a 5-year window to find your sea legs, Yeah. 2017, he has a proper offseason and has an MVP fucking year, lights out. He goes 11-2. Yep. And then I was at the game in Los Angeles. It's probably one of the best games I've ever watched. Yeah, best Eagles game I've ever watched. I'll say that because people go, well, actually, no. Best Eagles games I watched, and he goes down, and there's a play on the 5-yard line. He goes to scramble, goes in for a touchdown. They call it back because there was an offside by Lane Johnson, and he tore his ACL and his MCL.
I remember watching it, and he went down, and I'm like, nah, he'll be fine. And my buddy I'm watching it with, he's just like, he looked like he saw a ghost. He was like, all the color drained from his face because I guess I didn't catch it the same way, but he like watched it, and he's like, no, he's like, oh shit, no.
But here's the thing, I'm there live, right? Mm-hmm. I'm in the opposite end zone. I'm like 10 rows from the field, but the opposite end zone. So it goes in. We're like, hey, touchdown. Oh, they're bringing it back. With a torn ACL and a torn MCL, he stood up and played 3 more fucking plays.
Unbelievable.
Carson Wentz with a torn ACL, MCL, threw a touchdown to Alshon Jeffrey, who had a torn rotator cuff.
Yeah, so if you're shitting on this team, go fuck yourself. It's basically my look. The thing, and that's like everything you're saying is you can't. Like what a bunch of bullshit. This guy is your hero and your savior and everything. Guess what? You can't. One person can't win a game. He can try, and then listen. He got a concussion. Obviously not the same. Well, I know. He will go. Continue.
He does the thing. He rehab. Well, how about this? He's out for the season. Everybody's like, oh, the season's over. And then his backup quarterback, who used to be the starter, Nick Foles comes in and wins the Super Bowl. So you go from having this 11-2 season, your backup wins the Super Bowl, and they erected a statue to him that still stands out in front of the stadium. Yep. All right, it was put there by Bud Light, but still there's a statue there of the guy who won the trophy that you probably could have won if he hadn't been hurt.
Oh, Shackleford! I'm putting this shit on the screen for Meanie to see.
No, he didn't cry because he was a baby. Because okay, listen here, motherfucker. All right, motherfucker.
Oh boy.
He comes back the next season, looks good, but then his fucking back's fucked up because when you have a knee injury, right, you overcompensate. I've had knee injuries where, like, I'm trying to work leave pressure off this knee, and then my back starts hurting, or my other knee starts hurting because I'm overcompensating. So take that shit off the fucking screen, Lena.
Shackleford's getting Meanie hot.
I'm about to walk off this fucking thing.
I mean, in fairness to Shackleford, Shackleford, you're full of shit. It's not that's.
I'm trying to make a fucking point. And then, he has the back issue. All right, he comes back the next fucking season, and everybody around him is fucking injured. Mm-hmm. What is going on with the medical staff over at that fucking building? He basically put the fucking practice squad, all the starters were injured, all the people he had to throw the ball to were done. They're bringing up people from the practice squad to fucking play with him, and he took them to the playoffs. He goes to the playoffs, gets a fucking dirty hit to the back of the head.
Yep.
Gets a fucking concussion, and he's out. He takes the team to the playoffs. His first playoff game, fucking helmet to helmet, back of the head, and then he comes back this year. And they're like, "Oh, what's wrong with Carson Wentz? He had a fucking concussion."
And that was something you pointed out in the beginning of the season.
I've been saying this all year. I've had undiagnosed fucking concussions, all right, motherfucker? So I know what it's like to have shit linger to where, like, your judgment's all fucked up and all that stuff. So, yeah, he made a couple bad fucking plays. But also, where's the fucking offensive line? The fucking, he was the most sacked quarterback in the whole fucking league because, it was like a fucking bullfighter letting the bull through to fucking tackle him. He was getting sacked left and right. So you're seeing ghosts, you're hearing footsteps. So this fucking, and then he's got nobody to throw to. I watched, all the, I listen to sports talk all day. I listen to Ike Reese, who actually played the fucking game. I watch guys on the ESPN who actually played the fucking game. And they play the footage of these fucking wide receivers, running the wrong routes. So if he's throwing the ball to where they should be and they're going the wrong way.
How's that his fault?
How's that his fucking fault, right? So, people fucking just shit on him.
And like Andy Slichter's saying now that Wentz is going to thrive on the new team.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's going to win a fucking Super Bowl with the Colts.
Yeah. He probably will. And
he will.
And because there's, like I said, one person doesn't win a game. And
he's going to go to a team that's a fucking offensive line. He has a fucking coach that will actually run the fucking ball.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
I think,
the organization fucking failed him.
You pointed out in the beginning of the season, first of all, the season in general was just rough all the way across the board because there was no preseason. It was a disaster. But. And
then,
Yeah.
So, his fucking backup wins the fucking Super Bowl. He gets knocked out. The same backup, the Super Bowl MVP, almost takes him back to the fucking playoffs. And then the fucking, the year after he gets knocked out with a concussion, they draft a fucking quarterback in the second fucking round with a second round pick. So he's always had to fucking look over his fucking shoulder to see who's coming to take his fucking job. Yeah. If you buy a fucking fancy car, whatever, I don't care. I drive fucking hoopties. So I don't give a fuck. I park in South Philly, so I ain't buying nothing nice. But if you buy a fucking really nice fucking car, that's an investment. A quarterback is an investment. You got to fucking give them fucking protection. You got to put an alarm system on them. You got to fucking put people around them that won't let them fucking get fucking dirty. Yeah. What the fuck?
Shackleford has a lot more to say, but we're going to keep it off the screen because I don't know if we can handle more the red ass meanie.
I'm fucking livid.
I love it. Look, we can
I don't
all
get
agree.
this hot about wrestling, but
what?
I don't get this hot about wrestling, but
no. This is welcome to a real Philly sports fan because this is the Philly sports fan that everybody else hears about.
I've seen people react to Carson Wentz as if they fucking murdered. He went to their house and murdered a family member.
Yeah. What I don't understand, and my fandom is nowhere in the same galaxy as Meanie's, and that's not an insult. That's a fact. Meanie is a true diehard, Eagles fan. But I guess I don't understand how, like to me, when I found out he was getting traded, I was kind of just like, yep,
well,
there
you
you
knew it
go.
was coming.
Like, yeah, well, we knew for a while, and we knew they, it's standard. They're not going to do it during the Super Bowl, like, week
Right.
or even the week after. But like, I don't know. To me, I'm just like, why is everyone turning on him? Because guess what's going to happen? He ever comes back, people are going to lose their shit and be so excited. It's the same. And that's, you say don't get hot about this like in the same way with wrestling. But it's no different. It's no different than wrestling fans shitting on people who, like, oh, how come they left? How come they did this? Oh, he should have done this. Oh, he should have done that. Like,
right.
Listen, the guy didn't go out there and ever try to lose.
Right.
The concussion thing, Meanie said it in the beginning of the season. And when you pointed that out on social media, I was like, yeah, that's a valid thing that no one's really like acknowledging. Like
look, the NFL doesn't want anybody to acknowledge it because they've had the fucking concussion lawsuits. They made a fucking movie about it. They made there's a documentary on PBS, which you go watch right now called League of Denial, of how the NFL's tried to bury the whole concussion thing. Dude, he got fucking hit in the back of his head, helmet to helmet. His head got fucking driven into the fucking ground. Yeah. They said when he went back to the fucking sideline that game, he didn't even know his fucking name. He's like, dude, I'm in a fucking bad way. He didn't know anything.
Yeah. And that's serious shit. And the other side of it is
it's Kevin Cobb all over again.
Even if
Kevin Cobb got a concussion, which almost drove him to fucking suicide. That's why I get fucking hot about it. It's more about the concussion.
Well, and and the thing is, there's also an
that's why that's really why I'm hot, because of the concussion. Well, I see it happen to, my coworkers.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen the effects it has on people. Maybe that's why I'm getting a little
And Shackelford is saying, peace and love, just not trying to upset you.
I'm the wrong motherfucker to fuck with on this. I will strangle you in front of your family. I don't give a
Oh man,
not really.
Join Patreon, so
Meanie get threatened to fucking pod squad. No, seriously, dude. I listen to people talk, and I keep my fucking, like I said, if I bit my tongue, I wouldn't have a fucking tongue left. But
yeah,
just like the guy did nothing wrong.
As Slichter's saying, is organizational failure. You can't put all the blame on Wentz. And listen, was Wentz perfect?
Right.
Did he screw some things up? Did he make some bad plays? Yeah, he did. Can you blame it all on the concussion? No, absolutely not. But he's not perfect. And to act like all of a sudden, like Wentz, the only quarterback to ever make a bad play, to ever, throw the ball and miss his mark. Like, no. So first of all, let's relax for a minute. At least he didn't smile like McNabb, that son of a bitch.
Oh my God, that used to drive me insane.
Yeah, I hated that. He would always just be like, "Oh, my bad." And it's like, no, it's like fuck you.
McNabb would kill a bunch of worms and go,
Yep, exactly.
Show some fucking fire.
Yeah,
that's the one thing I always liked about Carson, dude.
Yep.
When he fucked up, you could just look at his face and know how fucking it affected him. Where McNabb would just go, it's like, oh, you motherfucker. He was talented. I love McNabb. But, like, he's another one. Well, this city's always killed the quarterback, And the city's always been in love with the backup until the backup comes in and plays. When McNabb went out, AJ Feely would come in. Everybody's like, yeah, AJ, get rid of McNabb, keep AJ. And then, AJ Feely throws a bunch of fucking interceptions against Seattle. And they're like, bring back McNabb, A valid point being made. Yes.
By Shackelford over here is that,
let me say, look, Shackelford, I'm sorry. I was in a stream of consciousness that I needed to get out, and it's kind of like jerking off. When somebody, you're in a stream of consciousness, and then somebody knocks on the door, and you're startled, like, oh, where was I?
Yeah.
So I went from being
Shackelford, the only thing you did wrong was interrupt Meanie in the middle of his jerking off.
Yeah. I went from being in a pool with Christy Brinkley to shooting pool with David Brinkley.
But he is making the point that, there is something to be said, a certain amount of criticism when this guy's getting paid $100 million, like you
That's on the organization for giving him that fucking contract,
He
Seriously.
says, Shackleford says, no worries. I love you guys.
I love you too, man.
Don't bring me into this. I had nothing to.
Yeah.
I
was just venting. Because, like, really, this is the shit I've just been sitting on.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then,
I
had it back and forth with somebody from one of the local talk sports stations who took the fucking company side, the organization side. I was like, really? Really?
I think.
Sorry, I've bored our non-football.
I don't think you bored anybody because no one has ever heard the Blue Meanie get that hot before,
dude. I'm good now. I'm
not bored. I'm just glad that I wasn't on the receiving end of it. Although I almost was. I interrupted your story at one point. And you were ready to. You're gonna grab a chair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was ready to go sit on my couch, and you can talk to the fucking wall behind me.
Oh, well, that's a nice wall with some great art.
The wall of the Meanie podcast. Talk to my fucking belt. I'm out. I love you guys. I'm passionate when it comes to this because it's just, dude, if you lived here and you're a sports fan, you're just born into it. You're a 4 for 4 now, 5 for 5 because we have soccer now, and that's why I'll look at other cities like a Buffalo, or when I was in England, or I watch sports overseas. It's just like Philly, man, with the chants and all that stuff. Like, I went to the Eagles game over in London, and I might as well just been in Philly. And you look at a town like Buffalo who suffered so long, and those people are diehards. Mm-hmm. I got such a spot in my heart for diehard sports fans because I am. Look,
you're just saying this because
expert.
Buffalo had a BWO sign, and you made a shirt off of it.
Before that, we had a bunch of ECW. Buffalo was a good ECW town.
Yeah,
with the Burt Flickenser Center and stuff like that. Yeah. So, that was my
Shackleford
Will
says
Ferrell.
Embiid was amazing last night. Oh, don't try. We know how you really feel.
I'm good now.
You're good. It's
like when you got a boiling pot of water and you just take the lid off and let the steam out.
Yeah. So thank you, Shackleford, for we'll call this episode the red parentheses ass and parentheses meanie.
More like pink because I'm so pale.
Oh,
no matter how red you can imagine it. Just, fucking oatmeal buffet over here.
Oh my.
It's like a fucking pillow got ran over by cleats.
So, as nervous as I am to now let anybody else talk directly to you.
No, I'm good, man. I'm good. Shackleford, you're a good dude. We're just
all just having fun here.
Talks amongst friends. Talking with friends.
Hey, TWF, talking with friends. Available now. Mine of the Meanie.
I'm sorry.
Don't be sorry. You're fine. But we can't cut this out because it's like 40% of the podcast this week. No,
it should be like a clip on our YouTube.
You had I'm glad it was brought up because this is clearly something that needed to be said, and it's something that people needed to hear because the poor guy doesn't deserve the shit he's getting, and then we'll leave it. We'll leave it at that. We'll miss him.
The guy bought property here. He invested in the community. Yep. He fucking had food trucks that gave people free food.
Yeah,
like his he had a food truck called Thy Kingdom Crumb. And he would just drive to different locations and give people free food.
Yeah, he's a good dude. Unless you're a bird. If you're a bird, you ever seen his hunting cabin?
Yeah.
Fuck, man. It's a lot of dead birds.
Vanessa. Dude, and also, shout out to my boy Giovanni Hamilton.
Oh, yeah.
Who, I do, or during the season, I do an Eagles recap podcast with Giovanni Hamilton and Connor Miles over on the Eagles Brawl Network. And Giovanni, who is a super fan for ECW, for Carson Wentz. ECW too, but he was raised well. He took it pretty hard. He did a farewell to Carson on his Twitter, which ESPN picked up.
Really?
And replayed, and a couple of members of the Colts.
Do you think ESPN's going to pick up from this?
Maybe.
Can I put some of it on social media as like a little teaser?
Go ahead. I don't care.
But
I gotta give some love to Giovanni. His reaction
was as eloquent.
No,
as
he was way more mature than I am.
Could you imagine that poor little kid just sitting there and going, and all you just fucking, why are you fucking,
I'll strangle you in front of your family. I'll strangle you in front of your fucking family. I'll fuck your father right in front of you. I had a friend get into a fight with somebody, like a legit on the street fight, and they were like, fuck you, I'll fuck your father. Hey, leave my, don't fuck my dad. And, it's just like, I know some people you just don't want to fuck with,
Vanessa has a great, says new challenge, count all those F-bombs. I would love if someone wants to go back and give a count from start to finish of Meanie's his decompression, if you will. I would love to know
that was a session therapy for me right there.
Listen, the mind of the Meanie isn't always a happy-go-lucky place. Sometimes there's some shit in there that needs to be let out. That's why our logo pops the top,
And that's why I don't call on the sports talk radio. They would dump me out in 20 seconds. But yeah, man, just what comes down to? I hate fucking bullies, right?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like this guy was fucking bullied, and just he was never given a fucking fair chance by the organization, and fucking they failed him. Like I said, when you have an investment, you protect your investment.
Mm-hmm.
If you buy a fancy sports car, you keep it in a private garage. You put security in a place that's well secured. You put them on a front line. Jason Peters is like, not going to protect him anymore. I watched Carson Wentz get tackled by his own lineman during the season. He was scrambling, and his own lineman tackled him. Accidentally, but tackled him. I saw another clip. It was against Baltimore. And, he snaps the ball, and the guy sacks him, and the guy who was supposed to stop the guy from sacking him stopped to fix his gloves. He's just, like, fixing his gloves. And while he's fixing the gloves, the guy from Baltimore runs by and sacks Carson Wentz.
I'm hungry for a hoagie. I would always get a hoagie when I'd watch the Eagles, and now all this talk about it, I'm hungry for a hoagie.
Yeah. I could go for a breakfast pizza right now.
Hey, fun thing happened while we were recording this. The Major Wrestling Figure Podcast put out a nice post, card art by @83_design for the @Cella Toys limited edition 1 of 1,000 Mind of the Meanie retro style action figure 2-pack featuring Blue Meanie and Josh, @Blue Meanie BWO and @So Says Shernoff. Pre-order yours today, cellatoys.net, jbtoysandcollectibles.com, #scratch that figure itch with a nice picture. Show you right there. Thank you. I forgot I'm on a different camera. But anyway, thank you to Matt Cardona, and I would say Brian Myers, but we know that he's not handling the social media. But thank you guys for that. That is so cool. to get love like that from Major Wrestling Figure Podcast.
Absolutely, man. Those guys are salt of the earth human beings. Just they're the guys who, the good guys who made it.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? This business can be kind of rough. This business could kind of turn you sour, so to speak. And those guys took their energies and turned it into something positive, and they've created their own community the way we're trying to do over here at Mind of the Meanie. Again, I'm sorry, Shackelford. I'm sorry. I feel so bad. But
Shackelford's going to find like a free upgrade in his Patreon or something from Meanie. Shackelford, welcome to the blue Patreon blue membership.
Yeah, send him a shirt on me. Yeah, tell him to pick a shirt. I feel bad now.
Are you serious?
But
you know what's going to happen though? Everyone's just going to intentionally try and piss you off now, so they'll get a free shirt. That's fine. Shackelford, we're going to send you a free shirt.
Yeah, please let me send.
Specifically, if Slichter ends up making a shirt based off of this interaction. Oh,
I don't know if it's the worst or the fact that I read them and just went. Argh.
Well, I guess we should. I have bad news for you. When we're doing the
I've got bad news.
Yeah, I'm afraid I've got some bad news. When we do the fight show, I'm gonna pretty much, that's an extra bonus for Patreon members. Is their comments are going to be posted on the screen. To be seen on Fight. So
I'm excited for Fight.
I'm excited too, but if I don't know, be careful what you post. You might end up getting a tongue lashing and a t-shirt. So
that should be the shirt, a tongue lashing?
Tongue lashing and a t-shirt. There you go, Slichter.
I went all cat mode and gave him a tongue lick.
Tongue licking.
No.
Man, you better watch yourself, or Meanie's gonna lick that ass.
Hey, eating ass is my way of apologizing.
Yikes! All right. On that note,
this is an apology for the next 30 seconds you're about to receive. I'm gonna give you the best 30 seconds of your life, sweetheart.
Oh.
5 pumps of fury. 3.5 pumps in, you're just like. That was the high school years, though. But
oh God. Okay.
I'm a pro now.
Wow.
Now it's more like 6 pumps.
Okay.
Did I tell you soap is such a whore? When you take a shower and.
What are you even talking about?
I'm talking about body wash.
Yeah, I got you. Oh, you know what? I think maybe it's time that we ask Meanie anything. What do you think?
Does the fun ever start? No, yeah, seriously, go ahead. I'm just loopy right now. I'm loopy.
This has been a great episode, I think.
This has like been I'm coming down now. It's like I'm smoking it's like an after sex cigarette, even though I don't smoke.
That after sex cigarette could get you a COVID vaccine. So
more like a after sex sandwich. Yeah,
sounds good to me. I'm so hungry. All right, here we go.
Ask me anything. Ask me something.
All right,
dude. We did an interview the other day, and for my own bemusement, I let one squeak out into the mic while the guy was talking, and nobody picked up on it.
I did not catch that.
He was talking, and I was like, let me see if this bleeds through, and just,
oh man.
And I laughed, but you guys were unaffected. But it's there in the mix,
Okay, so here we got some fun ones here. I don't know if we read this one from Cactus Yak before.
From the Ren and Stimpy show.
Which wrestler, current or not, would you deem a great fit for color commentary when they're done in the ring aside from Jericho? Did we answer that before? I don't remember.
I don't know. I mean, Samoa Joe's already doing the deal. Eli Drake would be amazing. Congratulations to him for going to NXT's LA Knight now. But
great,
Eli Drake,
great name. By the way, you can get the "Sarcasm is my superpower" shirt over at
yeah, great talent, amazing talent. Eli Drake, LA Knight. I don't know. Oh, I guess they couldn't call him Eli Drake because they already have a Drake there, Drake Maverick.
Yeah.
But they could have called it. Well, they needed to have that cadence because he goes, Eli Drake.
So they needed an L.A. Knight. Yeah.
They needed a,
There you go.
So, yeah. But, dude, if the in-ring thing doesn't work out for him, which I don't know why it wouldn't. He's an amazing talent. And that's why I feel bad. That's why I hate, like, answering. Not that I hate myself. Because sometimes somebody will ask me a question. I'll give the answer. I'll give a answer. And then after the show, I'll go, fuck, I forgot about so-and-so. You know?
That's all
Eli
right.
Drake, man, he's amazing. Between the ring work and the mic work, he reminds me of Austin, to be quite honest.
He reminds me of The Rock in a not good way, if I'm being honest. He reminds me a little too much like Rock cosplay at times.
I always got that from the other guy who's in AEW, Ricky whatever.
Ricky Starks.
Yeah, he's
So here's the thing, Ricky Starks, and this is not his fault, okay?
he's talented, don't get me wrong.
This is not his fault. His face looks very similar to somebody that I know. Someone I know of, that I'm not going to say their name, but I just do not like. Not in wrestling, but his face, instantly, the first time I saw him, I'm like, oh my God, he looks just like this other guy.
Blankety blank.
And I just do not like that other guy. Mm-hmm. And it makes it so tough because thank God he's a heel, because I'm able to at least, play into it, because I've never met Ricky Starks. Talented dude. It is a little, I'm definitely seeing The Rock cosplay.
Dude, as soon as he came out on NWA, I was just like,
yeah. But
that's the first person I thought
Eli
of.
Drake, it's more his mannerisms and the tone of voice. He sounds like he's talking like late 90s rock.
Weird, because to me he sounds like Steve Austin, which I mean,
maybe it's a combo. Listen, hey, it's working.
It could be a combo of both. Yeah.
Yeah. Rock's not coming back doing full-time wrestling. Neither is Austin. So knock yourself out, man. Hulk Hogan was a ripoff of superstar Billy Graham.
Absolutely.
Like, so
there's a lot of ripoffs of superstar Billy Graham.
Yeah.
But he was
Big
the
Papa
most notable.
Pump, Scott Steiner. Come on.
Yeah. Well, at least
and
only
then it
people
evolves,
admit it.
and then it evolves into their own things. So there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Hey,
Ricky
you know
Starks, I feel so bad. I want to meet him in
Yeah.
person to like him as an actual person, because he just looks so much like someone I just despise, that I'm like, it's really tough. But
you know what's weird?
What's weird?
I find myself in that situation too, where, excuse me, a little
Bless
seltzer
you.
kiss there. Yeah.
Doesn't hype.
Where I'll see somebody on TV, and maybe it's them just doing their job right, and I'm like, annoyed with somebody, and then I meet them and they're super nice, and I feel like the biggest dick in the world, even though I did nothing to them other than have an opinion, you know?
Yeah.
But then I start questioning myself. Am I a bad judge of character?
Hey,
but
look,
no, I'm just judging people off of what I see on TV, which they're a heel. I guess they're doing their job.
Yeah, there are plenty of people that I'm not a fan of watching on television. It's not anything personal. It's not like you and Shackleford. Like, this is not like, I don't wish any harm on them. I don't.
I'm sorry, Shackleford. Really.
That's 2 T-shirts now. Just kidding.
No.
No, just one.
Just one.
Also,
One half
Shackleford.
shirt.
Here's the thing: Shackleford's going to be like, "Yeah, I'll take a large, and we're going to send him a small."
Medium.
Oh
my God.
Apparently, Travis says Eli has done motion capture for the 2K games, so he probably has literally played The Rock before. That's interesting.
Maybe.
I had an old friend who did Cassidy Riley. Do you know who he is?
Yeah.
He did a lot of the motion capture for the 2K games.
Yeah, he's a good dude, man.
Yeah.
He's from like the Tennessee area, maybe.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
Yep.
Real good guy. I knew him from down in OVW.
I met him through Shane Douglas.
Yeah, Cassie's a good guy. He's one of the few people that I'm still. I'm like Facebook in touch, you know, but one of the few
Still
people.
in touch.
Yeah, they were still in touch a little bit, and
It's the only reason why I really still have Facebook anyway. Just to
he's got great family, and he's a good dude.
Great dude.
Yeah. Let's see.
Hold on.
Wow, it's like you slowly opened a door. Anthony Camarada says, couldn't type before I was driving, but tongue lashing and a t-shirt don't threaten me with a good time. I think Slichter, tongue lashing and a t-shirt, that's have fun.
Normally I don't get hot like that, except for things I'm really passionate about.
I think it's great. I think this is going to be a spike in our downloads.
That's another t-shirt, a little spike in your downloads.
Spike in your downloads, yeah, and just a little full diaper. Andy Slichter has an Ask Meanie Anything. Bigger Philly sports pressure. Eagles quarterback or Flyers goalie?
Oh, that's a great question.
Yes.
I would say quarterback.
I'm going to say quarterback just because I think just the level of fandom insanity that goes along in Philly. Like if the Flyers are doing well and you're not a hockey fan, like you may hear about it. But if the Eagles are doing well and you're not a football fan, you know the Eagles are doing well. Like,
with the exception of like the run that 08 Phillies went on, this is a football town.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is definitely a football town. But we love our other sports, but the Eagles are number one, really.
Devin Miller writes, thoughts on the upcoming AEW pay-per-view and the exploding barbed wire death match. That is going to be between Kenny Omega and Jon Moxley. Now, if you'll remember when they first met, I forget which pay-per-view it was, but I was
is in Baltimore.
Hashtag maybe? I was there. Was it
Full Gear? Was it Full Gear?
I think it was Full Gear. Yeah. And they
then somebody stooched them off to the athletic commission about it.
Who did?
I forget who.
Someone did stooge them off. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I forget who, but somebody called the athletic commission, and then AEW had to pay some kind of fine.
Yeah, let's say Meltzer. And it wasn't him, but somebody with less of.
It was Chris Cruz, stooched him off.
Chris Cruz. Oh yeah. Oh that little bitch.
Yeah,
he's like the old announcer, right?
From WCW. And
so let me tell you something about Chris Cruz. When I was doing the Apter chat, Chris Cruz has a hard-on for Bill Apter, like for trying to take
the one
him
person
down.
in this everybody in this business loves.
The nicest person in the history of the wrestling business, Bill Apter. And Chris Cruz, just because I was handling the social media, I would see like the tags, I would see people like tagging, because I mean he didn't have the balls to ever tag Bill. So people would like then tag or like send over like what he was saying. But he would like constantly try and like shit on anything that Bill said. And Bill was the most politically correct person. Like if you're just Bill, what do you honestly think about that person? It was just like the nicest, you know, Yeah, Chris Cruz is as far as I'm concerned, never met the guy, but he sure does come off as a steaming pile of shit.
Here's what disappoints me. I've met Chris Cruz in person because he, when ECW ran Atlanta for WrestlePalooza, I ran into him and he was there and he was a good guy. And I just want to know where things went wrong with him that now he's got to be this heel.
Yeah, maybe because he was a commentator and he has a face for radio and a voice for the for silent films. I don't know. Like maybe because things didn't go the way he thought they were going to go, so he's mad at the world. But his heat with Bill Apter, and I remember I said to Bill, I'm like, Bill, what is this? I was like, do you want to talk about it on the podcast? He's like, no, I don't want to acknowledge it. He's like, he's always been like this. He's a bully. And that's the thing. He's always kind of bullied Bill. And I don't, we can say whatever we want about Bill because we love Bill, but nobody else can. Yeah, as far as this exploding barbed wire death match, what do you think, Meanie?
I don't know, man. Depends on what they do.
It seems like, why are we there? Like, why are we there at that match? Why have we reached that point? I don't know why we've reached that point. Let's get a couple more matches. Then let's throw them in a cage. Then let's make the cage not work. Or maybe somebody cuts through the cage with wire cutters or something so they can get in. And it's like, well, then what can we possibly do that'll keep people out? Well, I don't know. How about the ropes are made of barbed wire and they're filled and you got C4 wrapped around them? That'll keep interference out. That'll keep Don Callis away. But that should have been something that Moxley asked for, not something that Omega asked for. That's also something that doesn't make any sense. Why is the heel trying to, unless I missed something, wasn't paying attention because I watch these things late at night, but why is the heel challenging to a match like this? It should always be the face that is challenging to some sort of match like that. So, we're going to do a watch-along for Patreon of Cactus Jack and Triple H in Hell in a Cell. But prior to that, at the Royal Rumble the month earlier, they had that amazing street fight, Cactus Jack and Triple H in Royal Rumble 2000.
Yeah.
That promo where Mick Foley basically ripped off his Mankind stuff and was when he became Cactus Jack and said that's who Triple H is going to fight. Triple H looked like he saw a ghost. He made, not that he needed to make Cactus Jack. Don't get me wrong. Cactus Jack was already made. But to anyone who didn't know who Cactus Jack was and had just started watching at that time, Triple H made Cactus Jack. That crowd walked away going, I don't know what this is, but that just scared the piss out of Triple H. And making it a street fight and doing things like that. It should never be the heel, in my opinion. Where do you stand with that, Meanie? That the heel making the dangerous match?
Yeah, the babyface should call for the stipulation, I believe.
The heel should be trying to get the hell out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the heel, as I was always taught by the great Tracy Smothers, babyfaces do this, heels do that.
This is an audio
Meanie,
podcast.
you do this? Huh?
It's an audio podcast.
Well, yeah. That's why you got to join the Patreon. But, to illustrate what I just did for our Patreon members, heels are fist up, babyfaces fist up, heels beg off.
Yep.
With the hands like the Ric Flair. Oh no, no.
Yep. And then like Ric Flair, you get the opportunity as the wrestler gets in there, and the referee is trying to help out because the heel is begging off, and then boom, get him with a low blow or poke him in the eyes with your fingers. That's it's old school and it's simple for a reason. But I'm curious to see. We'll definitely be doing an alternative commentary on Fight for that. So I'm excited to see it. And I still have my tie from last year. This is it. This was the last Revolution. That was the last show I was at.
Kind of glad that AEW is going to Sundays now.
Are they?
Because I just saw that discussion. Their pay-per-views are going to be on Sundays now.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's good.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. That's good for now. But I used to like the fact that when I would go to the pay-per-views, that I could always fly home on Sunday. I did always like that it's like you could get in, you get in the like Friday, and then, I mean, when there was a StarCast, you're there the whole time, but I always liked that I could fly home on Sunday. But,
well, both of our reasons are self-serving because, Saturday nights would be difficult for me.
Yeah.
To do the alternative commentary for it,
Well, listen, you Saturday nights you're usually down at the Speakeasy, and I don't know what the fuck you do on a Saturday night. But yeah.
Neither do I.
Yeah. But no, Saturday night. I mean, yeah, Saturday night's kind of a tough thing. Like a Sunday, when the world opens back up, you're never gonna find a time like. When, like, I would say to my wife, like, oh, I got to do the Sunday night. And she'd be like, oh, well, I had this planned. Like, no one has any plans on a Sunday night. So,
right.
Yeah. All right. What other questions do we have here? It's been a very talkative group. James Sorensen wants to know if we can get mine to the Meanie salt and pepper shakers made. I wouldn't even begin to know how to go about doing something like that. But let's see. All right, well, we'll jump. RJ Krasinski has a question. Would you ever write a book, Meanie? I think we've talked about it before.
Yeah, I've been trying to. I got stories written. I have to force myself to sit there, either write something on the computer or type it up in text form or a WordPad or something. I just need to find. Yeah, I do have to sit there and write some stories. And then again, it's also how deep do I want to go? How personal do I want to go? Because, I've been through some shit, and my family's been through some shit. So I don't know how far I want to get, how deep I want to. I could give you all the wrestling stories that I've never told, as they come to memory. But it's just a matter of forcing myself to sit there and put, pen to paper, quote unquote.
Unless you're Foley,
do it.
And legit pen to paper.
Yeah, I don't know how he did that, man.
I don't know. Probably had quite the cramp in his mandible claw. What Mark and Dryden asks, what are Meanie's thoughts on Jim Cornette? What was it like when you first met him, and do you listen to his podcast?
I love Jim. I'll say, like I said before, a lot of things he says are not wrong. It's just, I think people have issue with his presentation. And a lot of his presentation is to get people to listen to the podcast in a way, I think, dude, guy has one of the greatest managers of all time, continues to, has made a lot of money in the business, continues to make money in the business just through his online store and through his podcast and all that stuff. And his numbers don't lie. You look at his, I more or less listen to his stuff on YouTube because I'm more of a YouTube guy, or I'll listen to I'll just listen to the clips. And the view, the views are there. There's people who agree with him, But well, the question was, have I ever met him? Have I been around? Yeah.
What was it like when you first met him? When did you first meet him?
I met him through Dennis Corluzzo. When I was breaking into the business, when I rode with Al I met him before that. I met him at a fan convention in Bensalem, Pennsylvania. Very cool guy, very talkative. And we would talk, this is like when I'm still in high school, and we'd talk about wrestling, talk about Smoky Mountain, all that good stuff. That was a Corluzzo show. And then once I got into business, I went to the NWA tournament with Al. After Shane threw the belt and they had their own tournament to crown the new champion. Mm-hmm. After the show, we went out to dinner. There's this place in Jersey called Ribbit, where it's just like, eat ribs and all that stuff. And, I remember sitting there at a table with Jim and Jerry Lawler and Corluzzo and Al and Phyllis Lee. and just shooting the shit. Just a good dude, man. There's, private cornet, and then there's public cornet, and, I've known his wife, Stacy, forever. His wife, Stacy, was part of the, a wrestling scene out in California. And, she went to a couple ECW shows back in the day with that crew. It was her, Ron Head, J.R. Benson from California Creative Wrestling. It was like a semi-backyard promotion, which did some interesting stuff. I'll just leave it at that. But I've known him and his wife forever. Good people, man.
Good people.
Like I said, I think more people have issue with his presentation.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look, I like Jim Cornette, and he hated ECW. So that goes to say,
Yeah, I think he definitely has, there have been a lot of things that I could agree with, but God, some of the things he said. You all right over there?
Yeah. Dude, that's, you know what? The biggest injury to come out of the Royal Rumble was me sitting there doing alternative commentary, because when I stood up out of the chair, my knee popped. So I've had this knee issue for a couple months since the Royal Rumble. I stood up and my knee went.
And here's the thing that really infuriates me about a guy like Meltzer. Where is his report on Meanie's injury during the Rumble?
Right.
Blue Meanie was injured during the Rumble. I didn't see a single wrestling news site cover that. Thoughts and prayers, Meanie. Hey, here's a fun one.
Yes.
At Chris WD 2009, what were some of Josh and Blue Meanie's pre-match rituals / routines?
For me, it's always as I learned when I first broke in, I need to have a cutoff period before I have anything to eat before the match, because once you start bumping around, you roll out of the ring and just like I turn into it's like burping a baby,
Mm-hmm.
So pre-match, I just make sure I cut off any kind of meal, prior to a match. Get to the building. Depending on the building, I usually always trying to find a spot that's where I can have my back to the wall, because I want to watch the room kind of thing. My whole life I've been like the back of the classroom kind of kid. I need to be in the back of the room watching every motherfucker in front of me, that way you can't get ribbed, Yeah. And just same old shit. Just, get to the show, say hi to everybody, check out the ring, go to the locker room, find your spot. Like I said, I like to have my back to the wall, watching the room. I try to watch shows as much, the show I'm on, as much as I can, and nothing too extravagant. I don't put on my left sock first, or my first boot first, and my one boot on first, or whatever. Just
when would you get dressed?
Before the first match, at least. Just to kind of be dressed, and because I've learned, as you learn in this business, shit could change at a moment's notice. If somebody doesn't show up, you have to go in early. Mm-hmm. You want to be ready. Plenty of ECW shows I was dressed, well before the bell rang and stuff like that. In case Paul said, shit, so stuck in traffic. Meaning you're on second. Oh shit, I'm not dressed. Yeah. Why aren't you dressed? So you just learn little things throughout you have different experiences and stuff like that.
So mine was when I first started doing things, I was doing my TWF stuff and things like that. So I was running the shows. I just basically ran around like a chicken with my head cut off. But once I was an actual pro and actually wrestling and stuff, my thing would pretty much be, I'd get to the arena, I'd eat something right when I got to the arena. So I'd bring food with me and eat something right when I got there. And then it depended if we were doing an OVW would be out in the ring before doors. So I wouldn't get in my gear yet. But as soon as doors would open, I would get changed. I always preferred to be like, I have like my tights on and my boots on and totally laced up. And then I would put, I'd put a shirt on or sometimes put like shorts over the tights or something. So I'm not just walking around, shirtless and, in long tights. Yeah. But I always had my gear on again, like you said, so you'd be ready to go. Cause I think that was like, dude, I used to have like nightmares. I feel like every wrestler kind of has that nightmare where you're trying to lace your boots and they're like your music's playing and you're like trying to go, like you just can't seem to lace up your boots, or like your last minute you're at the show and like your gear, you're like, where's my gear? You go in your bag and you realize like it's in your closet back at home and it's like 40 minutes away, like all kinds of random stuff like that. So I was always make sure I had my stuff. Or
you go to lace up your boots and that one fucking lace snaps and you're like, oh fuck.
Yeah. So like, I always tried to make sure I had enough time. But I would say my other pre-match ritual, if you would, not really a ritual or routine, but I would go and like take a piss multiple times.
Yeah.
Because there's something about knowing that you can't that makes you have to. So I would always just be like, okay, my match is coming up in, maybe I got like 10 minutes. All right, I'm going to go take a piss. And then I knew, okay, 5 minutes, I'm just going to go back and see what's happening. And then it's like right before I would go and just do it again, just to ensure I was totally cleared out. That was something
I always found that like my match always went better when I knew I had to take a piss, but I couldn't take the piss. So I'm going through the whole match like, man, I really got to piss. So like I'm hitting all the spots right and stuff like that.
But it's like extra focused on everything you're doing. But I remember I was down in OVW and I was supposed to have a dark match after the show. Me and this guy Big Cat and Big Cat and Meow and so and this was one of the times that like, I'm like, it's a dark match. I know I'm on afterwards. So the show had kind of started and I'm going through and I'm like casually lacing up my boots and doing whatever. And they ran in and they're like, we're switching you. We're going to be doing first I was supposed to have like a 10-minute match, which would have been a clusterfuck anyway, but I was supposed to have like a 10-minute match. And they were like, we're actually going to do just 2-minute squash match, but we need it on the show. I'm like, okay. They're like, where's Big Cat? I'm like, I don't know. They're like coming into the locker room there. I'm like, I have no idea. And I'm in the corner because I used to do the same thing. I always found a corner to like back up to. And I'm like, I have no idea where he is. And then someone's like, he's taking a shit. And so he was taking a shit. And they're like, yeah, you're on the next segment. And I'm just sitting there lacing up my boots. He's taking a shit. So we don't know. We've just had like this 10-minute match that we had planned out that now it's supposed to be a squash match. So pretty much we go to right behind the curtain. We're ready to go. Like I'm racing to get my shit on. Right behind the curtain, he like comes in. I guess he had just wiped himself, and here he comes, and we're like, okay, what are we gonna do? And I'm like, I don't know. I guess I'll just kind of throw a couple of punches. They won't do anything. He was a big dude, big dude. So I just kind of threw a couple of punches, and which ended up looking like shit too. I remember watching it back. My whole idea was that I was going to like punch him and then kind of like wear out and just kind of be like, oh crap. And then just hit the ropes. But it ended up looking like I was throwing these like little, like swatting at his belly button. So then I hit the ropes and he just like shoulder tackled me and that was it, and grabbed me in his full Nelson, where he teased it for a while. Like he was like going to do it and I'm like fighting with all my might and he's like laughing and then he just locks it in and I tap out. And then I got yelled at in the locker room for making him look weak but not by Al. This is by someone else, but I won't say who it was. But I got yelled at. They're like, oh man, you're making him look weak. Like it's not believable. Like he should have easily been able to put it on you. And I'm like, were you guys watching? Like he was toying with me. Like that was the thing. Like he's like, I'm struggling and he's laughing as he's like waiting. And then he just kind of just goes and locks it in and I tap out instantly. But yeah. I got heat for that. Got heat for adjusting my tights.
I used to get
during
that
the match
shit all the time.
I remember
adjust your tights. Don't adjust.
They're saying like don't adjust your tights. I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, well, I don't think I said it out loud, which probably wasn't good, but I was like, my adjusting my tights was the most real thing that happened out there. My tights were falling down. I adjusted them and, whatever. I don't know. But
and you're an asshole for letting your ass fall out or something.
Right. It's like, well, what am I supposed to do? What do you want me to do?
Right.
And I was wearing I had a necklace
still.
on too. Like I was wearing a necklace. And I remember somebody telling me they're like, don't ever wear a necklace in the ring. You don't wear a necklace in the ring because someone can grab it, which makes perfect sense. You shouldn't wear a necklace in the ring. If you're in a fight, why would you wear something around your neck? And then it was like clockwork. Somebody, because they always had something going on the TV, like some random match. Somebody puts on, it was Shawn Michaels, Chris Jericho from WrestleMania 19. And Michaels has a necklace with the biggest fucking metal cross on it throughout the entire match, which I remember when I watched that match, I was like, oh my God, he's going to bump on that thing and it's going to go through his neck. And I was just kind of like, I kept that to myself and I was like, yeah, all right. I won't follow those jobbers like Shawn Michaels, he's never going to make it. But anyway,
Anyway,
I would take a piss. Mark and Dryden wants to know, who are some of Meanie's and Josh's favorite foreign wrestlers, and Canada counts? I mean,
dude, in high school, I was a huge fan of Hiroshi Hase from New Japan.
Okay.
There's a period where I watched a lot of New Japan when I could get the tapes. Hase and Sasaki when they were tagging up. I think I got exposed to them when they were, WCW was doing a crossover and they wrestled the Steiners and stuff like that. But from watching those matches, I started collecting New Japan stuff and became a big fan of his, and he would do that side suplex, which later on The Rock started using as the rock bottom kind of, like he would do it. But
dealer, like.
Yeah. Like Hase would do a sweet one. Like him and Muda had a couple tremendous matches. Hase versus Muda or Mudo, whichever you prefer.
Oh man, I did the thing for Pro Wrestling Noah the other day with Sonny Ono and another gentleman named Tom Fain, who has a great magazine. I can't remember the name of it because I can't freaking pronounce the name of it, but I'm excited. He just told me he sent me a couple copies of it, so I'm excited to check that out. But
awesome. But
I'm sitting there, we're plugging that the Great Muda is on the thing, and I'm like, I don't know what to call him. Do I call him Mudo? Do I call him, like Keiji Muto? Like I don't know. Yeah, I don't really know where, because they're technically like two gimmicks, but the same guy. Like, and I don't really know.
It's like Finn Balor and The Fiend.
Yeah, but he was always the Great Muda to me. Like that's how I knew him. So knew him. I not personally as a fan.
Hey Muda, old buddy, old pal.
Yeah. By the way, do you know Sonny Ono?
Yes.
I know who you know. I know you know who he is. I just didn't know.
No, we're cool.
If you're
okay, we're cool.
He is he's one of the funniest people. He told me he's going to take me to Japan's red light district when all of this is over with the. He was like serious. He's like you're going to come to Japan for the shows and I'm going to take you. I'm going to show you a good time because I can open lots of doors. And I'm not telling any tales out of school. This was live on the fight thing that we were doing. But no, he's a great guy. So anyway, I was going to tell another story, but definitely not something I can tell on the air. No, I would say if I had to pick, if Canada counts, then Bret Hart. He's my favorite wrestler of all time. He's Canadian. Yeah. Chris Jericho would be another one. Owen Hart, obviously.
Owen Hart, yeah, for me.
But if we're going around like outside of that, like I would have to say more towards. I guess it depends. If you're saying foreign wrestlers, are we talking about Rey Mysterio? Is he being considered foreign? Because I think he's from California. I don't know where he initially, but like, where are you considering the fact that he's Mexican? Like, does that make him, I don't know. But, so I would say, but if we're counting Canada, then it's going to be Bret, Owen, and Jericho.
Yeah, Owen for me. There's just something I mean, even before I got to know the guy, I meet the guy, get to know him a little bit. Just there's something I really, really liked about him. I remember when WrestleMania was in Atlantic City and running into Brett, and I was like, and Brett's checking in the hotel. I'm just like, Brett, is Owen Hart really the Blue Blazer? Total marketing. He looks at me and goes,
shakes his head no.
Yeah, just shook, with that disgusted Bret Hart, because he was the heel.
Yeah.
So. But yeah, man, fucking Owen was always the best. Soft spot in my heart for Owen Hart. Plus, he wore blue as the Blue Blazer. So
yeah. Travis writes, and I think this will be our last question here. Travis writes, who was the most physically exhausting opponent you've had? Somebody you knew was going to blow you up every time.
Who blew me up was Al. I mean, besides practice matches, working out, I think we did a couple matches. I worked with him in Milwaukee for Jack Koshik and Dave Hero. And like I said, it was like the same gimmick, same kind of gimmick where I worked with, tagged with Screech, but it was like the year before or something like that. And me and Al wrestled on a show. I was just like, oh my God. I was just like, calm down, grab a hold. Jesus Christ. I was always more nervous working with Al because, he's my mentor, other people, always he was more nervous with people who had way more experience than me,
Oh God,
like
absolutely.
Yeah.
I always
felt like I had something to prove.
I would always pride myself on my cardio being really good. So I didn't get I was never really that concerned. I used to have kind of when I would wrestle my buddy Matt Mangle, because he's one of my best friends, we would always basically try and blow each other up and have some fun with that. But I would say, do you remember Chris Cage from, he was Kalen Croft in WWE.
Yeah.
So Chris, when I would I remember wrestling him, I think that was my first match in OVW. So I'm not sure if it was I think I was just so nervous that I got blown up pretty quick. And he was just I was just bumping and feeding. And the dude was throwing drop kicks as fast as someone punches. And I remember with that feeling by the end of it, a little all right, that was exhausting. But again, I don't know if that was maybe just because I was so, nervous.
There's moments where I've been blown up, but I got through it. But there's been times where I'm blown up where I'm just I'm just willing my way through it. And then, Bigelow, Bam Bam Bigelow came to me and said, hey man, I know you're a big guy, you don't want to kill your gimmick, but even if you're not going to put on muscles like a bodybuilder, always have a strong pair of legs.
Yeah.
Just go in the gym and hit the bike and, work your legs out. And from there on, I always remember Bigelow going, have a have a strong set of wheels.
Yeah.
So after that, I was pretty good. And then as experience comes, you learn to pace yourself and stuff like that, and breathing techniques. And
I mean, dude, I get blown up watching wrestling today. So, and that's the thing also that I should specify, especially because I referred to myself earlier in the episode as a cruiserweight. This was a different time. The stuff that you're seeing, the cardio of these guys, it's insane. The stuff, especially that you're seeing in a AEW or anywhere they do a lot of the flippy stuff. And I wasn't really wrestling that way. I did a lot more nat stuff. So, so I don't know. Was it my cardio? Was my cardio good, or was I just moving slowly? So I don't know. But let's see, a revised version of. We'll do one more because Anthony Camarada on our Patreon had one here. Cool. revised version of his Twitter question. When companies hire Josh and Meanie for an appearance when they start their live shows, what is on their rider? Seltzer and a bowl of M&Ms with no brown ones?
A bowl of M&Ms with all blue ones.
All blue, yeah. It's got to be all blue.
Yeah. Which you could just cheat and go to Party City and get a bowl of blue M&Ms or something, whatever.
No, because I want to see a bowl of the discarded ones.
Yes.
Separate. I'm going to eat all the other ones. Meanie's going to eat the blue ones. So
definitely going to need coffee. I drink too much coffee, man.
Oh, there's no such thing.
Yeah. Coffee, blue M&Ms, seltzer.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
I'll have to think of that.
I'm pretty good with that. Yeah.
Yeah. Separate bathrooms.
As Conrad can attest.
Yes. Yeah. When Meanie and I are doing the live shows, I don't need my own locker room. I would love, in fact, to share the space with Meanie, but we need separate bathrooms. And Meanie's needs to be down a hall, with a lot of ventilation.
Here's the thing, like I'm a quick shitter. It's just like I wait until the last possible second. So I was at my friend Albert. I was like, hey man, I gotta go to the bathroom. I'll be right back. And I was in and out, and he goes in after me. He's like, gee, oh God, you did that in that short amount of time. I watched him walk into the bathroom. He put one foot in and just went straight back. Yeah. Like, God. He shut the door and he was like, God, oh my God.
No, but
if you want to check out my friend Albert's podcast, Mixtapes and Tasty Cakes, wherever you listen to podcasts. And
Mixtapes and Tasty Cakes.
Yeah, which is basically, like a Philly thing, but mixtapes and Tasty Cakes. Yeah, he's got a podcast, but yeah, I just totally destroyed his bathroom. And
nice. So yeah, I stand by that. Separate bathrooms, blue M&Ms with all the other ones discarded in their own bowl. Lots of coffee and seltzer. Yeah. And I want Wawa coffee.
Okay.
I want the creams and sugars, or whatever.
Yo, cuz you got the creams and sugars.
That doesn't need to be Wawa. It doesn't need to be Wawa coffee. I don't give a fuck. Yeah, it can be any kind of coffee. It can be
Wawa's
coffee.
Got good coffee. Yeah, Wawa's got good coffee.
They do have good coffee. Yeah. So the final question here, I guess, that was that, and then we got other questions from Patreon that we'll just answer when we get off of our episode.
Yeah, I got pay. Okay.
Yeah. So is that why you're hitting all your spots so well? Because you had to pee?
Yeah. Oh my God. You would think I was having a match right now.
Oh man. Well, seems like as good a time as any to bring it home here. Please follow us on social media if you haven't already, at Mind of the Meanie. Do us an enormous favor if you'd be so kind. If you like what we're doing, go over to Apple Podcasts, leave us a 5-star review, leave us, a review and a 5-star rating if you'd be so kind. We're nearing 100, and I think when we hit 100, we'll have to do something special. But yeah, go do that and spread the word. Just try to spread the word to everyone and anyone that this is your favorite podcast and that this is can't miss podcasting. Must listen podcasting, because we just want to keep growing and growing and growing this podcast and this pod squad and this whole community. Follow us as individuals. He is at Blue Meanie BWO across the board. I am at So Says Shernoff. Our YouTube.com/Mind of the Meanie. It has our episodes. It has some bonus features. It has Mrs. Meanie running, and now it has the brand new TWF Talking with Friends. Meanie Toons is there. You got to check it all out. Cameo. I'm on Cameo if you give a shit. At cameo.com/So Says Shernoff. But the real man on Cameo is cameo.com/Blue Meanie BWO.
Word.
And then, of course, our merch. ProWrestlingTees.com/Mind of the Meanie. ProWrestlingTees.com/So Says Shernoff. And ProWrestlingTees.com/Blue Meanie. We're going to be on Fight in a couple of weeks, and when that happens, we're going to have all different kinds of commercials and a real set thing to put all this stuff over at the end of the show. So it'll be a little bit more clear and concise, and I won't have to remember everything quite as much. But Meanie, anything else you want to say in the next 13 seconds?
Thank you guys for joining us on Patreon and every Monday morning. So we couldn't do this without you. So thank you very much.
And we'll see you next time for another trip into the mind of the Meanie.
Blue World Order. The world of MLW radio never stops.